Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum class. How are you? I hope all will be fine and enjoying a very good health. Today we will discuss Robert Frost as a poet, his short biography, and symbolism in his poetry. Literature will give you a new outlook of life to see the world and people with new eyes. The work of Robert Frost is very interesting, although he is not only the poet of nature but he is also the poet of men. Robert Frost has written on every subject, but his central subject is humanity. Other poets have written about people, but Robert Frost's poems are the people. They work and walk about and converse and tell their tales with the freedom of common speech. Now I am sharing with you a short biography of the writer. He was born 26 March 1874 in San Francisco, California, and died 29th of January 1963, Boston, aged 88. He became interested in reading and writing poetry during his high school years in Lawrence, enrolled at Dartmouth College in Hanover, New Hampshire in 1892 and later at Harvard University in Boston. Frost received the Pulitzer Prize for Poetry in 1924, 1931, 1937 and 1943. He was elected to the American Academy of Arts and Science in 1930. He was awarded a gold medal for poetry by National Institute of Arts and later in 1939. He was given a Congressional Gold Medal in 1960 in recognition of his poetry, which enriched the culture of the United States and the philosophy of the world. He was named Poet Laureate of Vermont in 1961. These are the works by Robert Frost, as you can see. Now come to the next topic. Symbolism. Class, first of all, I would like to share with you the definition of symbolism. What is symbolism? Then we will discuss the symbolism in the poetry of Robert Frost. When an object represents something else, for example, I am sharing with you 3 examples. Red octagon may be a symbol for stop. Skull and crossbones for poison, dove for peace. It means an object represents something else. Symbols are rich in emotional significance. For example, the word lily merely connotes a flower, but it also evokes images of beauty and innocence. Through symbols, a written can express much more than by the use of ordinary words. Symbols make the language rich and expressive. After Apple Picking is a poem about life and death, the veil that separates these and the connection between death and sleep. Its key symbol, the apple, is one which has represented life in many cultures. The apple recalls the Norse golden apples of Eden, which the gods must eat in order to remain young and immortal. Stooping by woods on a snowy evening. This is also the poem by Robert Frost. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep. And miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. These are the textual lines, so we have to find the symbolism in these lines. Miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Here the line suggests that death is ultimate reality of life, but before the one has some duty to fulfill, and the words like miles to go indicate that there are some works and responsibilities and one has to compete. So here sleep symbolizes the death. Death is not the greatest loss in life. The greatest loss of it what dies inside us while we live. It is very important fact. Poetry of Frost is having very rich and meaningful symbols, so you have to be an active reader to find out the hidden meanings. Next, nature. In this poem, nature is the symbol, and the snow is the symbol of coolness, while frozen lake is the symbol of death and chillness of life. Horse. In this poem, Robert Frost takes horse as a symbol, which symbolizes as a soul of the poet, and it plays an important part in the poem. Village. Village is symbolized here as society and civilization. Here, woods are symbolized as contrast to civilization. Through this poem, woods can be categorized as a symbol of death. The most significant symbol in the poem, stooping by woods on a snowy evening, would be woods. The woods may symbolize temptations in life. From a view they seem mysterious beauty, and some are tempted to say and enjoy the view, but the traveler chooses to continue his journey through life to reach his destination. Now come to the Mending Wall by Robert Frost. And we should find the symbolism in Mending Wall. Good fences make good neighbors. The fence here has a symbolic significance as well. It also symbolizing national, racial, religious, political, and economic conflicts and prejudices which divide men from men and come in a way of mutual understanding and relationship. Should such boundaries be demolished and the world should move toward universal brotherhood and the concept of one world? This is the question that rises in the poem. Feud between two neighbors symbolizes the clash between tradition and modernity, between age and youth. The young wants to demolish the old and traditional and rebuild society, while the old uphold the value of the traditional and customary. Superficially, the poem seems simple. The richness of its textures is revealed only on a symbolic interpretation. The line that is showing to you, it is the line in the text, good fences make good neighbors. It is very important line of the poem. Aged tradition, young modernity. It means the aged people follow the tradition and the young people wants new things, modernism. So the line is symbolized when an old man, his young neighbor, the two neighbors represent the problems between tradition and modernism. So symbolism means use of symbols like objects, characters, use color to represent abstract idea or quality. Frost's poetry is simple and easy, but in reality he is very complex poet. In his use of this method, Frost is at one with such modern poets as W. D. Yeats and T. S. Eliot.